Okay, in the last part of this video, part 4, perfectly timed for it all, I want to just finish up the discussion of unemployment. And what I basically finished the last part of the video was talking a bit about how the statistic is a bit flawed, that it generally tends to underestimate the actual phenomenon because of the discouraged worker effect. But I also just want to talk about how excuse me, the unemployment rate that we actually capture actually has two components. And it's going to sound a bit odd, but give me a chance to explain it here. So we have the unemployment rate, and it's actually going to equal something known as the natural rate of unemployment plus the cyclical component of the unemployment rate. Now, the question would be, how could you have natural unemployment? Like, why would there have to be some? Well, there's actually two parts to this. It can be structural. When the structure of the economy changes and people lose their jobs, it's natural for any economy that things can change. So if I was a shoe cobbler or I repaired VCRs, right? I could become unemployed just because technology got better or because we changed the way in which we buy our shoes. So those individuals are going to be unemployed for a period of time. They're going to need to be retrained for a new type of profession. But it's natural for any economy that's changing. And then there's also going to be another component that is frictional. And this is just by the virtue of the fact that, at least in the United States, I mean, for most of us, that we can leave our employers basically at any time you want. Like I could be like, screw you, Stout. I'm gonna, quit right now. And there's really nothing that they could do about it, right? And they could be, trying to get a job at, let's say, I don't know, UW Superior, right? But they'd be like, okay, you can get a job, but, our semester doesn't start for a week. So I might be unemployed for a week, right? Or I might say, I really want to find a better job, one that's not in, like, really cold Wisconsin. I want to get a job at, University of California, right? I want to get warm. So, right, I might take 6 months off to find that right job in California. There's a natural friction to a labor market where employees and employers can sever the relationship at any point in time. That natural GDP, or why do I keep saying, well, we're going to talk about natural GDP, but that natural unemployment rate, in the case of the U.S., is about 5%. So when the unemployment rate's about 5%, that's considered full employment. We're basically an economy that's using every available individual. I mean, you could say we're not using this 5%, but that 5% is a component that's, for the most part, almost always there because of the structural and the frictional components. Now, in addition to that, though, there's a part of unemployment that exists because of the performance of the economy. Cyclical unemployment. We know that right now, for instance, the unemployment rate is much higher than 5%. Because we are, recovering from a recession. And so what that means is that there'd be positive cyclical unemployment because we're in a recession. Now, it can work the opposite way. Cyclical unemployment could actually be negative if the economy is doing very, very well. When I graduated from college back in '99, the economy was doing very, very well. Consequently, the unemployment rate was less than 5%, as it was back in 2007 as well. Okay. So, as a final comment then for this chapter then, you don't want the unemployment rate to be 0%. You always want some unemployment to be there. And the reason why that's the case is that if the unemployment rate is too low, it's going to tend to cause inflationary pressures. Now, the reason why it's going to cause inflationary pressures let's just go back to our original graphs of why we looked at why of how inflation emerges. If everyone is working, then everyone will start buying stuff, which will shift out the demand curve, right? Also, if everyone's working, workers will start to demand higher wages, which means that the cost for businesses will go up. In both cases, if the unemployment rate's too low, it's going to cause demand pull and cost push inflation. Okay, that finishes chapter 20. I'm going to pick it up then with chapter 21 in the next video.